Hello, this is Mr. Flatness, and today we're going to be talking about multiplying polynomials, which is lesson 8.2. Our goals within this lesson are going to be taking a look at the distributive property and seeing how I can work the distributive property backwards to factor out particular terms within a polynomial. So let's review the distributive property. So I have a problem here where I want to take 3x and I want to multiply that or distribute that over a trinomial x squared plus 2x minus 4. So in looking at this, the first thing I would choose to do is add op, and then I'm going to distribute all, or the 3x here, over all three terms. So I'm going to take the 3x times the x squared plus the 3x times the 2x plus the 3x times the negative 4. So with that now I have to remember how to multiply numbers or variables with the same base. And that goes back a couple of chapters. So in my first particular problem, you'll see that I have 3x times x squared. X is a common base. So if you remember right, we need to add the exponents of 1 and 2. So 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. 3x times 2x would be 6x squared. And 3x times a negative 4 would be negative 12x. The final thing I'll look at before I determine whether this is my final answer or not is to see if I have simplest form. So I have a trinomial, which is 3 terms, and notice that my powers or my exponents start with 3, go down to 2, and finish with 1. So they go in descending order. And there are no other common terms to combine, so therefore I know that this is my final answer. And then with some more review, I can talk about the degree. The degree of this polynomial, as stated in the previous video, would be 3. The leading coefficient would be 3, which is the number out in front of the very first term. And then my other coefficients in this particular polynomial would be 6 and negative 12. So, a review of the distributive property. So, please make sure that you have put this in your notebooks and follow this process, because this will give you now a little bit more practice when we move on to the next part of this lesson. So now what we have is a new skill where we have a binomial, 2 terms, and we're going to multiply that to another binomial which has 2 terms, bi meaning 2. So, and we're going to again use this distributive property. So in looking at this, I want to take this 2x to start with, and I'm going to distribute that over the binomial x plus 2. So that's going to be 2x times x plus 2x times 2. Then what I'm going to do is take the second term, which is 3, and distribute it over the x plus 2 again. So we're going to get 3 times x plus 3 times 2. So now I've distributed both the 2x and the 3 over the second binomial. And so now I can clean things up and multiply and evaluate. So going back now to 2x times x, well, that would be 2x squared. 2x times 2 would be 4x. 3 times x would be 3x, and 3 times 2 would give me 6. So I want to work and look at standard form. I can combine like terms. When I look at it, I can combine the 4x and the 3x. So together they make 7x. So my final answer would be 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. Again, notice that my exponents are in descending order, 2, 1, and then no x term. So there's my polynomial answer. Now there's another way to do this particular problem. It's basically doing the exact same thing. We're distributing, but we're going to use an acronym or a mnemonic, I guess would be a better term for it, to help me remember and to basically solve it in a different way. Instead of going from left to right in solving, we can take a look at going vertically. And this new process, or the mnemonic that we're going to use, is called FOIL. F-O-I-L. And those are the first letters of the process that we want to do. In FOIL, F talks about multiplying the first two terms together. So that's going to be 2x times x. The letter O talks about now the outside terms. So I'm going to take a look at the outside terms of 2x and 2 and multiply those together. The letter I talks about inside. So I'm going to take a look at the inside two terms and multiply them together. 3 times x. And finally the L in this particular situation. L talks about the last two terms, 3 and 2. Okay, so more of a vertical method. So now I can kind of clean this up and see that 2x times x again is 2x squared. 2x times 2 is 4x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 2 is equal to 6. I can combine the 4x and the 3x to get 7x. So then my final answer again is 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. So we call this process the process of FOIL. And basically it's just directions on which terms you should multiply and in what specific order. The last practice problem that we're going to do together and put in our notes is simply just multiplying and distributing bigger polynomials. Okay, notice here we have 3 terms, so that's called a trinomial, and I'm going to distribute this a over the trinomial and then add it to this particular expression where I'm going to distribute the 3 over that binomial. So here we go. So in looking at this, I'm going to distribute the a over the negative 8 squared, a over the 2a, and a over the 4. So that's going to be a times negative 8a squared plus a times 2a plus a times 4. So in cleaning that up, a times negative 8a squared would be negative 8a cubed. A to the first, again remember we add the 2 powers. Plus 2a times a would be 2a squared, plus, and then a times 4 would give me 4a. Then we're going to take a look at the second half of this. So now we're going to take a look at 3 and distribute it over the 6a squared and over the 4. So that's going to be 3 times 6a squared, plus, because I'm going to add op here, and that's going to be 3 times negative 4. So cleaning that up, 3 times 6a squared is going to be 18a squared, and 3 times the negative 4 is negative 12. So now what I'm going to do is add these all together now. I'm going to take this trinomial and add it to this binomial, and I'm going to look for common terms. First thing I'm going to look at is the negative 8a cubed, and I'm going to see that I don't see any other a cubed terms, so I'm going to leave that as negative 8a cubed, plus 2a squared and 18a squared I can combine because they're both a squared terms. So that's going to be 20a squared, plus I have 4a here and nothing else to combine it, so that's 4a. And then finally I got minus 12 or plus a negative 12 in my last term. Then I'm going to look to see if I'm in standard form. Highest power 2, 1. So I do have that there. I know that my answer then is in simplest form. And again, my degree of the polynomial is 3. My leading coefficient is negative 8. Other coefficients are 20 and 4. So basically the difference between this one and our last one, we can only use FOIL when we're multiplying binomials together. But if I have more of a trinomial situation like this, now I do not use FOIL, I simply use the distributive property. So, for tonight we want you to practice two problems. Go ahead and use either FOIL, in the case of number 1, use FOIL to solve number 1, and then number 2 you're going to have to use the distributive property. Find the product of these two and simplify them. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow in class.